actual topics. I'm very excited about the topics, which is Corda. So let's get started. So we'll start with the first session. The first session is on the Corda use cases, because that's important, right? Before we start with any technology, we have to understand where do we use it? Why to learn something where you can't use it, right? So let's understand the use cases for Corda. And for that, let me get Peter here. Hey, hi, Peter, all yours.
Hi, morning, Nevin. Thanks, Nevin, for the introduction. So, hi, everybody. It's Peter from the Developer Relations team saying hi to you all the way from Hong Kong. Today in the chat, I was reading the chat a little bit. I see a lot of people from all around the world. We have from Canada, Toronto. We have from Bangalore. We have from India. So, yeah, I'm based in the Hong Kong. So, yeah, let's get to it. I bet everybody is pretty excited from the early opening sessions from my boss, Janine, and we are going to have a lot of fun this week together. And so stay tuned and follow us on the Twitter at Corda Blockchain. So now please allow me and my co-host Ashutosh to take you through some of the Corda use cases. We all want to know what this state-of-the-art technology can do, right? So Ashutosh will be in the chat. If you have any questions, just drop in the chat. So how are we running the chat, Ashutosh?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. It's going to be pretty simple, Peter. I mean, you can ask any questions regarding the topic here. The only thing that we might not want you to do is put any kind of promotional materials because that's beyond our policies. We don't want someone to steal the chat here. So yeah, just don't put any promotions. You might get banned. Other than that, it's all fine. Just concentrate on the session. You have any questions, put it on the chat. I'll be there to help you. Yeah, with that, I'll pass it over to Peter.
All right, thanks, Ashutosh. All right, so let's get started. So Corda use cases. So in these sessions, we want to show you the value that Corda can bring to the business world. So if you know our company, know our platform before, so R3 has been an enterprise blockchain for most of the robust financial industry, capital markets, we built a global ecosystem with 400 plus participants. So ecosystem includes industry leading system integrators, cloud providers, and technology firms. So right now on the screen, you see we basically categorize our partners into 3 sections. So on the left is the consortium that we have helped our partners build. You see we have the B3I, which is one of the largest, you can call it a distributed insurance consortium. We also working with MasterCard. They have used our technology to provide internal solutions. HQLX, Contour, which is a global trading platform that help to reduce the process of the letter of credit. With the financial institution and the exchanges, that's the section in the middle. We're working with the DTCC, which is the clearinghouse in the US. We're also working with NASDAQ, HSBC, and Bank, or the insurance company, the insurance giants, aliens. On the right side, it's like most of the software company will work with those tech partners, Intel, Microsoft, and actually, speaking of Intel, we have multiple sessions this week talking about our latest product called Conclave. I would assume that's coming up in about an hour. That's led by another of our senior evangelists, Sneha, who will introduce our second product, which is confidential computing, utilizing the Intel SGX chips. So, back to Corda. So, Corda is a blockchain, right? Everybody is like, oh, blockchain is cool. Some people are gonna think about cryptocurrencies, but what does the blockchain actually benefit the business world, right? We want to know that how can this new technology benefit what people do on an everyday basis in the how would I say, like the financial industry. So here's the first example I want to show you guys. It's called Sparktime. So Sparktime is an Italian project that's with a consortium of Italian banks. So out of the 100 Italian banks in total, 91% of the Italian banks are exchanging their internal bank transfers data on Corda. So that's basically a huge win and a success that we currently already have this year, right? So why they are all joining the Corda platform? Because in their business circus, there's a problem with internal settlement. So the business problem is the reconciliation process of interbank transaction in Italy, formerly governed by the Sparktime process, has multiple parties involved, and the manual process which lead to inconsistency. So there's can be human errors, or there can be files that are pending on approval, etc. So typically resolving the mismatch in transaction has been a labor-intense and time-consuming process. And on the right side, you can also see that normally the reconciliation time is from 30 to 50 days, but with our new platform, we are able to reduce the transaction time into less than a day. So that's basically is the beauty of the blockchain technology, or you can call it distributed ledger technology, which is the same thing. So in these Sparktime solutions, the Sparktime is enable the banks to share common data in a secure way, performing checks and exchanges directly within the applications and using standardized process and the communication for correcting issues. So that's one of the things that are you can basically, we hope that it can inspire you to think some the business problem that you encountered. For example, if you work in the insurance company, if you work in like a bank, if you are a senior developer, or just professional developers in enterprise solution companies, we hope this kind of solutions can inspire you to think to try to think out of the box to solve some centralized issues with decentralized solutions. So that's the first case I want to bring you, is on the banking side. So next, let's talk about digital asset. So right now, when people think about digital asset, people think, oh, it's just cryptocurrency. But in actually my tomorrow's sessions, we're gonna talk about token SDKs on the Corda platform. I'm gonna actually start talking about history about tokenizations, right? In our current financial systems, money or the bill are just basically a representation of asset. And walking into the next era, we definitely have to think about how we can transform some of the physical asset into digital asset. And in this example, in these solutions that we partner with NASDAQ, is basically coming up with a platform that you can change your physical asset into, or some of your financial asset into digital asset, and then you will be able to exchange them. So the business problem that NASDAQ ran into is they have customers demand to build a DLT settlement service for digital assets, and building your own exchange bring complexity of regulations, oversight, and documentary requirements. So they have to come across a way that you can provide a secure and then basically immutable way to cope with the new digital asset eras, right? In this solution, in this NASDAQ digital asset suite solutions, it enables the creation of robust and scalable market for digital asset, meeting performance, reliable, and transparency requirements. So what is this platform is able to achieve now is we have over, I think right now it says 120, but it's well over 120 right now. More than 120 marketplace across 50 countries using NASDAQ marketplace technology. So that's basically is our use cases in the digital asset. So open up your mind, everybody. Digital asset is not just cryptocurrency. It can be anything that is currently claimed as a physical asset, and then if you place them into a distributed platform, they have their chance to become a digital asset. And the benefit is always too, is you can simply change, start providing liquidity for those non-liquidable physical assets. So that's our second use case. So next one is on trading, global trading, which is one of the most important functions of the world economy. So the project Contour basically solved one of the most boring problem in the global trading is how you get basically the money to your counterparties. So if, for example, if I want to buy an Apple from Ashutosh, right, I just pay him. I can Venmo him or I can PayPal him, but that's probably just $2 or like $1 for the Apple. But when we talk about global trading, if we are shipping containers, multiple containers, hundreds of containers, so that won't be just like $5. And that will be actually millions or even billions of dollars if you're talking about the real sum, one of the largest global trade. So in those scenarios, you can't just send the money to your counterparty. And most likely, in fact, that your bank doesn't even have those money. How would I say it? Your bank will basically hold your money, but they don't actually have that liquidity to wire the money to the counter banks because they use that money for investment, blah, 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 but that's a separate story. So in the global trading business, there's a thing called a letter of credit. So that means it's basically your bank issue a letter that proves that, yes, my client, Peter Lee, actually has that money, and then the bank will issue that letter of credit to the counterbank, which is, for example, Ashutosh's bank. But that process is very convoluted. It has a lot of steps, and right now it's paper-based. So the problem of this is the inefficiency of paper-based process, along with multiple phases of trade transaction impact costs, complexity, and the turnaround time. So result in reduced margin for traditional bank letter of credit business and a tough competition for client business from other working capital solutions. So we partnered with the company called Contour and then developed these solutions together. So right now we are able to reduce 90% of the process time to come to the settlement. So that's also, since we are on the blockchain, we are on DLT, we are also providing transparency, efficiency, and security for the letter of credit business. And right now we have more than 20 plus banks, primarily in APAC, live on Contour. So that's our Contour project. And the last, I will bring out the showcase on insurance. Excuse me. So B3I is one of the largest insurance, or you can call it reinsurance consortium in EMEA. So it's the first reinsurance blockchain application that's ever live in the world. And right now it has 62% of the trial participants highlight workflow efficiency and reduce admin effort. So basically for the reinsurance industry, it runs the same issue is the legacy product, process, and technology degrade data, contribute to an acceptable high administrative burden. So that, again, means there's a lot of business frictions, and there's a lot of labor intense, and there's a lot of process happen within the step. So again, our product, Corda, and DLT technology basically minimize or relieve all that hassles. So, in my quick 15 minutes of use cases, I want everybody to at least have an idea that, our technology is for business to reduce their business frictions, and it provides a much better efficiency.
Hey, Peter, it's Gavin, producer. I just wanted to say, great presentation. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to answer questions because there's a lot of questions in the chat that Ashutosh may want to get to. And then we're going to move on to the technical 101. So if we could just take a couple of questions, Ashutosh, the rest we can do at office hours later in the day if people have more questions.
Yeah, thanks, Gavin. I think I have answered most of them, basically. It's more about certifications. And there was one question around performance on Corda. So Peter, would you like to take that? The question has come from Asif, I guess. So Asif, would you like to come live and ask your question, we can do that for you. You can please, if you want to, please raise your hand and we can pull you to, and we can ask you to have your camera and your mic unmuted, please, if you're okay with that.
Yep, we have him. We're just going to bring him up 1 second. I think he probably has to accept it. It's okay. We'll move on, guys. Oh, we're up. We're going to bring. Here we go. I don't. Yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. All right, continue on. We'll get him up a little bit later.
All right, no worries. Yeah. So he just want to know how is the performance on Corda. The question was, he said the transaction time for Ethereum is 10 to 20 seconds. So how does it work on Corda?
So with Corda, so most likely each of the transaction we are close to instant transaction, and we're talking about instant finalities. If you just send a transaction like between Peter and Ashutosh, that transaction can get there immediately. But the total performance of your network depends on how many nodes you have and how intense that transaction can actually how many transactions are going through the node tree to do the validations at the same time. And in terms of some measurements, we have a report from US DTCC, which is, as I mentioned, the clearinghouse, that all the way in 2018, Corda Enterprise is able to handle the end day tradings of US equity, which is US stock. So that means Corda is capable of handle most of the financial or high transaction use cases. That was like, the report was 2018. That was like almost like 3 years ago. With now we have a much better performance. And actually, you know what? Corda 5 is coming out, which is faster than Corda 4. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Awesome. Awesome. So that was a great introduction to the use cases of Corda, Peter. And of course, you don't have enough time to cover most of the use cases. We have collected some of it. So that's great, Peter. Thank you so much for the session. Let's move towards the next session here. So next we have is Corda Technical 101, and this session will be taken by Ashutosh.